What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're jumping into Destiny 2 for the very final weekly reset of this episode. It's the 28th of January, so on top of the weekly reset, we're also getting a reveal today for episode Heresy. That content will drop next week, so not long to go, and this week we're bound to get a whole bunch of details, as well as a better look at the actual new content, all importantly, so we'll touch on that. But for this video, we'll round up some important things regarding the final week of the episode, as well as key rewards, featured loot, and vendor inventories for the week, including the Eververse store, and a few other updates from Bungie. So, as always, I hope you find this one useful. If you do enjoy the video, a rating below very much helps us on the channel, but now, let's get into it. And so, as we discussed, it is the final week of episode Revenant. The Revenant content's going to be remaining in the game until at least summer of this year, when we get the next expansion, so there isn't necessarily a rush to complete everything right now if you've got anything left, but of course, it tends to be a bit easier to wrap up that content when it's the featured episode, so just something to keep in mind. Otherwise, shortly after this video goes live, there will be an official reveal for episode Heresy, which Bungie will be live streaming, so keep your eye on the official Bungie stream channels on Twitch, or indeed to this channel, as we'll be breaking down all of the new content and everything that Bungie show off today, so keep it locked and loaded and I'll keep you guys posted. Next up though, as we get into the game, there is bonus infamy for the take-in this week, which is nice. The same can be said for the Vanguard, and indeed, oh no, the Crucible one didn't pop up yet. Happy Lunar New Year though. I'm assuming we're going to have boosts across all of the core playlists. There we go, Crucible boost is also active, so if you're after some additional reputation, certainly that will be useful this week. Otherwise, as far as we understand it, Bungie suggested that the Drifter will have all of the Bento quests for our accounts which haven't yet been completed this week, so if you still do have any to work on, worth checking in with the Drifter if you want to get them done. Otherwise, let's look at the Eververse store for the week. First up, there is a Lunar New Year gift up for grabs right here on the front page, a free item, so we'll grab that. What do we get? 880 Bright Dust, and conveniently, it leads us straight to the Year of the Snake bundle, so some Lunar New Year items that we can view in the game right here. This is a silver purchase, that bundle. I nearly said this again, but we were torn back into the tower. That's going to be a silver purchase. As we can see, it's 1900 silver, but there are additionally a couple of items for Lunar New Year, or previous events at least, which are for Bright Dust. So we have the Herald of Spring weapon ornament for Two-Tailed Fox on the front page right here for 1200 Bright Dust. Very interesting if you want to grab that. There's also the Lagomorpha Lunaria, if I'm saying that correctly, exotic emote right here for 3250 Bright Dust. Additionally, on the front page, we have the Lunar Tiger projection from the 30th anniversary, 1500 Bright Dust. As always, they are quite expensive. And then for shaders on the front page, we have Cursed Azure up for grabs initially. As always, these are 300 Bright Dust. And also on the front page is the time-honored shader as well. But let's move over to the main Bright Dust section right here. First up, we've got the Origami Crane exotic emote for 3250 Bright Dust as well. Additionally, the Boulder Chase legendary emote from this episode, that one's up for 700 Bright Dust. We'll have a quick look at that one. Very interesting indeed. Then there is the Loyal Rover Shell exotic ghost, which is another one for Revenant. So first time selling for Bright Dust, which is nice. That one's 2850 Bright Dust. Then we have the Lunar Omen exotic ship, which is 2000 Bright Dust. This is another Lunar New Year of item, from previous years. So you can grab that if you like. The same can be said for the Retro Stretch exotic Sparrow, which is 2500 Bright Dust, and that one is very curious indeed. But we have the Rose Legacy ornament right here for Centrifuge, another new one for Revenant, and the first time selling for Bright Dust. Quite a clean look on that one for 1250 Bright Dust. So let us know if you'll grab any of those. But finally, we have the Cheeseburger projection, which is 1500 Bright Dust this week. Additionally, for shaders on the second page, we have Verdigris up first. Of course, been sold quite a few times. There's also Amethyst Veil up for grabs this week. Once again, all of these will be 300 Bright Dust. Then there is Rustberry as well, as time-honored, but that was also on the front page. Finally though, for Transmat effects, we have the Eldritch effects up for 450 Bright Dust. We'll preview it twice, as is always necessary. There's also the Capsule Gang entrance available this week. And finally, the Shadow Legion entrance, if you haven't been crushed enough times already. So there we go, guys. That's the Eververse inventory for the final week of the episode. And let us know if you plan to pick anything up. We'll have a quick check-in with Banshee right here for the weapons, for the moment at least, and we have Memory Interdict with Quick Draw Unrelenting, Disparity, which has got no distractions and Headstone, and then Jararaka 3SR, which is Rapid Hit and Gut Shot Straight, the Imperial Decree with Autoloading Holster and Surrounded, and finally the NEOD with Encore and Sympathetic Arsenal, but keep in mind the weapons and rolls will change through the week. And as always, our last stop for the day right here is down with Shader 1 in the Annex. For armor, we've got the Devastation Complex set of gear. Very vanilla stuff, but if you want to check in for stat rolls or to add to collections, of course you can. Then for shaders, we have Genotype Null 0 from back in the Warmind era. These are all 10,000 Glimmer. This comes up occasionally, but quite a nice one if you've never got it. There's also Echoes of Io, and it would indeed be an Echo because that location has been sunset. Finally though, speaking of sunset, Future War Cult as well, if you're after any older faction shaders. I don't think this one's come up too many times, but let us know if you'll grab any of those for 10,000 Glimmer. Some final things to mention here, but the Undercurrent will be the featured Nightfall weapon this week, and it's the last week where we'll be able to get the things, so Bungie are taking it out of the rotation starting with episode Heresy. So if you've been going after any specific roles and you still need to try and pick them up on the Adept variant, it's certainly going to be worth jumping in and trying to grab some this week. Otherwise, I would imagine Bungie will return the Undercurrent to the rotation at some point in the future, but could be quite a few months before that happens, so keep it in mind. The same can be said for Trials of Osiris this weekend, and the Prophet Scout Rifle, as that's going to be leaving the rotation next week, so it's another featured Adept weapon we can pick up this week before it goes away on Tuesday. Other bits of content though, and we should see Presage as the exotic mission, so Dead Man's Tale and all of its upgrades will be available. Then for featured raids and dungeons, we have Last Wish, which of course drops 1000 voices, and Vow of the Disciple, which can drop Collective Obligation. On top of the exotics, the entire loot pool for those raids is farmable when they're featured. Then we've got the Shattered Throne dungeon and Duality dungeon up as well, with Duality able to drop the Heart Shadow exotic sword. So a few things to go after this week if you still need them. And of course we have those boosted chances with no lockouts. But the final thing to mention, especially since some folks will want to prep and stack up a bunch of exotic engrams before next week, we've got the Lost Sectors, and on solo completions they have the chance to drop those exotics. So today it's Metamorphosis on Tavathun's Throne World, which will be followed by K1 Revelation on the Moon for January 29th, and Bay of Drowned Wishes in Dreaming City for January 30th, Chamber of Starlight for January 31st, and then we've got the Quarry in the EDZ for February 1st, Excavation Site on EDZ for February 2nd, and finally, the Broken Deep will be featured in the Pale Heart for February 3rd. So that's the full rotation if you want to do any prep. And otherwise, guys, I think that sums everything up. So once again, stay tuned to the channel, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, as we'll have numerous Heresy updates this week. Also, if you've enjoyed the video, a rating and a comment down below really does help us on the channel. But otherwise, as always, I very much appreciate you guys tuning in, and I hope you guys have an awesome day.